Solar panels can lose over 80% of their output under heavy cloud cover. And the battery sitting inside your solar generator isn't safe either. Cold weather alone can cut its capacity by up to half. World War II engineers didn't have that problem because they weren't using solar at all. Their fuel was rationed to almost nothing. The grid didn't exist in a lot of places, and yet somehow life went on. Radios worked, trucks ran, and food stayed warm. In this video, we're breaking down 8 forgotten power methods from that era. Methods that rely on pure mechanics, heat, and muscle power instead of fragile electronics. Stick around, because by the end of this list, you might just look at your solar setup a little differently. Method 8. Zero-power Foxhole radios. Let's start with something that isn't even a generator. It's a power-saving trick that soldiers in the trenches figured out when they had absolutely nothing. No batteries, no electricity, nothing. And they still managed to listen to radio broadcasts. This little invention is called a crystal radio, and it's almost like magic when you first hear how it works. It runs entirely off the energy already floating around in radio waves, the same waves that are constantly passing through the air around you right now. No power source needed at all, because the radio waves themselves carry just enough tiny electrical energy to work with. GIs would grab scavenged wire, wrap it around something as simple as a cardboard tube, creating what's called a coil. That coil picks up the radio signal floating in the air. Then comes the clever part. They'd use a rusty razor blade paired with a pencil lead touching lightly against it. And this odd little combo actually acts as a diode, meaning it only lets electricity flow in one direction. That's exactly what you need to separate the audio signal from the stronger carrier wave riding along with it. Once that happens, the sound comes through a simple earpiece. Faint, but real. Soldiers built these things out of literal scraps sitting around their foxholes. Broken razor blades, bits of wire, a stub of pencil. No battery, no wall outlet, no sunlight. Just physics doing the heavy lifting. Think about that for a second. Using literal battlefield garbage, soldiers pulled information out of thin air. No battery, no wall outlet, no sunlight needed, and no moving parts to break either. Just physics doing the heavy lifting with whatever scraps you had in your pocket. Method 7. Micro Hydro Pelton Wheels. Now let's talk about something a lot of old farms used before dams and power plants existed: a pelton wheel. If you had a stream running through your property, you basically had a power plant sitting right there, and you didn't even need a huge river to make it work. Here's how it works. A pipe takes water from higher ground, sometimes just a small hill or a slope on the property, and drops it down to a nozzle at the bottom. That drop in height builds up pressure, and by the time the water reaches the nozzle, it's shooting out as a fast, concentrated jet. That jet slams into these little spoon-shaped buckets sitting around the edge of a wheel, and because of the shape of those buckets, the water almost wraps around them and pushes back, transferring nearly all its energy into spinning the wheel. That spinning motion turns a small DC dynamo attached to the axle, and that's what actually produces the electricity. The beauty of this setup is that it's incredibly simple and has very few parts that can break. No delicate wiring, no chemical battery packs, just a pipe, a nozzle, a wheel, and moving water doing what it naturally does. Why does this beat solar so badly? Because water doesn't stop flowing at night. It doesn't care if it's cloudy or foggy, though it's worth mentioning that a hard freeze is its one real weakness, since ice can jam intake pipes or damage the wheel itself, which is exactly why old-timers built their systems near streams that ran fast enough to resist freezing over. As long as that stream is running, the wheel keeps spinning. You get constant, unwavering power, 24 hours a day, every single day of the year. No massive battery bank needed to get you through the night, because there is no gap to bridge in the first place. That's exactly why old-timers used to call a running stream the closest thing to free, endless electricity. Method 6. Pedal-powered generators. This one is honestly one of the coolest inventions on this list. Back in 1929, A man named Alfred Traeger in Australia built something called the pedal wireless. It gave remote cattle stations, places way out in the middle of nowhere, a way to communicate using two-way radio without needing expensive batteries they couldn't replace. The setup was simple. Take a stationary bike frame, hook it up to a dynamo, and start pedaling. The person doing this could generate around 20 watts, just enough to send and receive messages. During World War II, similar pedal-driven setups, like the GN45, were used constantly by Signal Corps out in the field. Here's the smart part. Cranking a generator by hand with your arms gets tiring fast, but your legs are way stronger and can keep going for hours. That's why this method actually worked for long stretches, unlike a hand crank that wears you out in minutes. Before we keep going, if this kind of old-school, no-nonsense survival knowledge is your thing, hit subscribe so you don't miss what's coming next. This next method might actually be the toughest one on the whole list. Method 5. Absorption refrigeration. The serval method. Let's talk about refrigeration, because honestly, keeping food cold is one of the biggest power hogs in any off-grid setup. Pre-World War II homesteaders figured out a way to skip electricity completely using something called a gas absorption fridge, and the serval brand was the most well-known version. Instead of using a motor and compressor, like your fridge at home, this thing used a tiny, steady heat source, like a kerosene wick or a propane flame, to boil a mixture of ammonia and water. As that ammonia turns to vapor, separates, and then condenses back down, it actually pulls heat out of the icebox. It sounds almost backwards, using heat to create cold, but it works incredibly well. The best part is you need zero electricity for this. You can get deep freeze level cold temperatures using nothing more than a small flame and some clever chemistry that just keeps looping on its own. Method 4. Direct drive wind chargers. Before the Rural Electrification Act reached the American Great Plains in the 1930s, entire communities were living completely off-grid. So homesteaders turned to wind chargers, and companies like Jacobs built some seriously tough machines. These weren't the flimsy little turbines you might picture today. These were heavy-duty DC generators, built like tanks, designed to survive brutal weather without falling apart. They used mechanical flyweight governors, basically a clever weight-based system, to automatically adjust the wooden blades when winds got dangerously strong. This kept the whole unit from tearing itself to pieces during a storm. Wind is unpredictable. It can vanish for days and then pick back up without warning, which is exactly why those homesteaders needed massive banks of glass-jar lead-acid batteries in the first place, to store power for the calm days when the blades barely turned. And because the safety system was purely mechanical, there were no delicate sensors that could fail. The power generated was stored in massive banks of glass-jar lead-acid batteries, often scavenged from old trains or even submarines. Method 3. The Gibson Girl hand crank generator. Alright, this one has a great story behind it. Batteries degrade over time, that's just a fact. And that's a huge problem when you're talking about emergency gear that might sit unused for years. During World War II, the U.S. military handed out the SCR-578 survival radio to aircraft crews flying over open water, just in case they went down. This device had a distinct hourglass shape, and it was designed to be held tightly between the operator's knees. A downed pilot would turn the hand crank, and that motion alone generated the exact electrical current needed to send out an SOS signal. No battery required whatsoever. This is about as reliable as it gets. It could sit in a storage crate for decades without touching a drop of maintenance. And the moment someone applies a bit of muscle to that crank, it works. Doesn't matter if it's cloudy, stormy, or pitch black outside. Method 2. Thermoelectric generators. Here's one that most people have never even heard of. Long before rural areas got connected to the power grid, the Soviet Union mass-produced something called the TGK-3, a thermoelectric generator built to power radios in remote cabins. This device runs on something called the Seebeck effect. Basically, when you join two different types of metal together and heat one side while keeping the other side cool, it creates a continuous flow of DC voltage. The TGK-3 was designed to sit right on top of a regular kerosene lamp, and the leftover heat from that flame gave off just enough wattage to run a radio receiver. What makes this genuinely brilliant is that it pulls electricity straight from a heat source you're already using anyway, whether that's for warmth or light. And there are literally 0 moving parts, which means nothing to wear down or break over time. Method 1. Wood gasification. The Cassigene system. And here's number 1, arguably the most impressive method on this entire list. During World War II, gasoline was rationed so heavily across Europe that people had almost none left for daily use. So engineers came up with something clever: wood gasifiers, with the invert downdraft generator being one of the most well-known designs. These massive boiler-like units were bolted right onto the back of civilian cars, and they let drivers skip petroleum completely. Here's how the process actually works. Wood gets heated inside an oxygen-starved chamber, which triggers something called pyrolysis. That process converts the wood into a combustible gas, often called syngas, which then feeds directly into the engine's intake, just like regular fuel would. Think about the power behind that for a second. You could run a heavy-duty mechanical generator at midnight, in the middle of a blizzard, using nothing but dry wood or scrap debris you gathered yourself. No sunlight needed, no battery to worry about, just fire and wood doing all the work. If this kind of forgotten knowledge is something you want more of, go ahead and subscribe to All About Survival.